I heard there clearly. Is it audible? Okay, thank you so much again, Dr. Ray, for that generous introduction. Also, thank you, Dr. Geraldine, for the first presentation of this module. As you see, if anybody is watching this on YouTube, this is very important. This is specifically for those students graduating in the Doctoral of Christian Ministry this September 2026. It's important that we finish all the requirements, especially for this capstone project initiated by Doc Ray, and then it will be by all of us. Thank you also, Chaplain Joshua, Elder Joshua, for that wonderful presentation, I should say, answer to financial planning. Yes, in other format also, I saw, even in my perspective, we saw some ways of starting from, we call it in here by Dr. Geraldine as the financial awareness. They call it financial checkup. I will talk more about later on. I think I don't need to present also the whole syllabus designed by Dr. Ray because as he was talking, I already presented an overview of it. So to save our time, let me go directly to my presentation as the second. Let me see here. This the second module, as you see on screen a while ago. It's important that we understand this clearly, and we need. Okay, for I think the third. I think Dr. Ray will talk more about it in the third presentation, and Dr. Jurel will be for the fourth part today. Now, let me try my best to finish this as quick as possible to save our time, that we will finish everything by 12 Philippine time, by 11 here, because we still have seminary classes and the diploma and the bachelor's level. Okay, right here. Can you see my screen? Not shared yet, right? Okay, here. Now I'm tasked to discuss the 7 high value digital income pathways, module 2. Let me check if it is really what is in the financial planning. Oh, sorry. This must be a mistake, Doc Ray. Instead of module 2, financial planning and roadmap, the one that I generated is the module 3. Will it be okay that I just finish this one for the sake of time? I'll go to the module 2 next meeting.
Kabisado mo na yung ano dito kila. Ah.
Wait, we need to manage this one. Right. And anybody there? Uh, uh, wait, I need to manage this. Okay, here. Uh, Wait, I'll find the other slide. Uh, we have some challenges with technicalities here. All right, here. Okay. Yeah, it's really module 2. Can I be back just for about 1 minute? Uh, Where is that slide now? I told my secretary to generate for me module 2, but instead the secretary generated module 3. And okay, we're not going to that part. Instead, let me just do the module 3. Okay, but this will be taken by Docre. I am in the valley of decision right now. Okay, let me just talk like this, or I'll just relate to you what we have here for module 2. This is financial planning and action roadmap. Uh, yeah, as we know, in module 1, we focus on understanding our financial reality by Dr. Geraldine. And through awareness, we call it financial checkup in other like platform that I have been trained for about about 4 years now. But then there is some level of certification there that I didn't go through it. It's good that Professor Joshua is certified in other areas. Maybe we can have our own, as Doc Ray is presenting, our own certification here from the biblical and SDA perspective rather than from other companies. We can adapt what they have and then we can create our own and we can even make this into an ecosystem of LCBMSI missionaries who are financially literate, not just from the biblical perspective, from the perspective of Adventist theology, and also from others that we can adapt as long as they are based from the principles of the scriptures. And I can also adapt here from my dissertation. Now, for the sake of those who know me and those who don't, okay, let us separate between what I am today, what I have known, and where I am at this level, and the lesson this now. Because in my defense before, I was asked why that was my topic, and my topic in the doctoral is on the financial framework. We call it uh, steward, and it was a very wonderful, I should say, based on the comment that I got from others. This is a framework that we can use, and I've never seen this one. That is why it is a dissertation, biblical framework of financial literacy. And some things there in detail, like the more I understand Dr. Geraldine's presentation, the more I understand Professor Joshua's perspective and Dr. Ray's perspective because it was touched there. And so in this module, we'll talk more about it later on. And just for the sake of this second presentation, okay, so it's important that knowing your financial condition where you are right now is really crucial. Okay, but knowledge alone, like what we have been in the we have gained in the past, is does not change financial outcomes. Okay, until we do it, like we need to not just as a sort of getting certified starting today, we have to put it into practice and find ways that would really give us an access to financial, instruments, vehicles. We are still in the process of planning and even certifying here. I see some other companies, even in the Philippines, some big ones, they have millions of members already worldwide. They're ahead of us for about more than 23, 24 years already. And we are in a sort from, we're still in the theoretical aspect. But if we look at it, we don't need to compare ourselves with them from that aspect because they are in different mission and vision, and but we can develop in such a way that it would really be beneficial for all of us, and especially equipping our missionaries here at LCBMSI. Okay, so right now financial transformation, of course, when goals are translated into specific actions, like already mentioned by Dr. Geraldine. So this second module, let me show you the second module right here so that it would be clear, because I believe if you, just in case you didn't see the first video, this second module on financial planning and action roadmap, okay? This one, can you see that on your screen? Yeah. This second module will teach us how to create a realistic financial plan, prioritize financial goals, and manage resources wisely. Yeah. Okay. It's one thing to know, it's another thing to practice. And develop a practical roadmap toward financial stability and growth. Yeah. So our focus today is not theory alone. Our focus is implementation. And from here now, where we are now to that, it's a big challenge. And I hope we will be able to reach it. Let me just wait. Some challenges here. Okay. With my spotlight to everyone. Now, our learning objectives. So by the end of this module, we participants should be able to, one, develop a personal financial plan. All right. And then create a realistic budget and prioritize financial goals, and build an emergency fund strategy, just like what already Professor Joshua told us, that about 3 to 6 months, in some other perspective, like at least 6 months to 1 year. It depends for us to, just in case something happens, and develop debt reduction plans. Okay. Yeah. We also have some books. I have one here. And create a practical financial action roadmap. So the ultimate objective is to help participants, especially doctoral students in doctoral of Christian ministry, who will also become leaders in leading other students to become financially literate. Move from the intention to execution. Okay. Now, I'll give you this slide later on. I'm polishing it. There was a mistake of generating. I told my secretary generate module 2, but it generated module 3. That's why it's important to check ahead of time. Yeah, I came home. I hope this is not an excuse. It's just so late, past midnight, and still groggy. But we have to do it. It's not perfect, but we have to start, and somewhere we will be able to reach what we want to. Now, why financial planning matters? Okay. Now, many people work hard but still struggle financially, right? Even if they, I should say, we have known already how to become financially free, okay? Struggle financially. Like maybe the issue is often not income alone. Let me tell you, like about 18 to 20 years ago, this is not to brag. I would like to thank God for that. My wife and I had a combined income in Bangkok for about 100,000 baht. And I don't know what happened. I'd like to interpret through the years. And lately, okay, God has given us, we believe it was God's purpose that He placed us in a situation that will really squeeze our thinking and even our stewardship principle and everything to place us in a an employment, an employer in which it's not even 1/4 of that. Okay, so that's a big challenge. That is why my dissertation was produced because it's out of that challenging situation. I don't have anywhere to go, to find ways, but go back to God and ask God, give me the principles, how we get out of this situation. And still in the process of doing it. So the issue is often not income alone. The issue is the absence of a plan. And sometimes we doubt how we do this plan, all right? And how we exactly execute this in detail. So financial planning provides direction. As we know, the Bible is so clear, right? Without planning, we go nowhere. Without vision, people will perish. So it doesn't mean that we don't need God because it is really biblical that we plan. That's why we have financial planner like uh, Chaplin and Professor Joshua. And he's good that he has an MBA in financial uh, in business, yes, and all these related to financial planning. It's important also that we share each other, and so we come up with the best way right here. So it helps us individuals make better decisions when everything is clear. Like if Doc Willie uh, likes to record everything. It's easy right now. We have technology. I just record, for example, you go to macro and you have the receipt. Just picture that receipt, upload it to either Gemini or any other secretary, and it stays there. And the following month, you can just say, I want this. My budget is only 1,000 baht and I want to buy these things that you already recorded. Just squeeze it and give me a budget. And that is a lot easier now rather than just doing it manually by yourself and calculating everything. No, let's use technology to leverage our effort. So it's a lot easier now, right? You agree with that? If you agree, just type there in the comment section. I'll take time reading it, or you can uh, unmute your mic and maybe you can give some opinion. And so now, without a plan, all right? Okay, without a plan, money tends to disappear, right? Even one but today, one but next, because it will really deplete without refurnishing it. And so we need to be helped in terms of making better decisions, reduce financial stress, all right? Yeah, and financial stress, as we know, will affect our spirituality. It's very true. I think we know all of that. We agree with all of that. And when we have financial stress, Dr. Reben, who is expert in the area of stress management, health, and mental, and also with Doc Jerry, I think you agree with me. We already know that it will create more of the cortisol. Cortisol, the stress hormone, and will develop more of the flabs right here in our tummy. And I have developed it, that cortisol, since April 2024 when I came here in Chonburi. I used to go to bed before 9 p.m. with yeah, with a group. And then right now, when we came to Chonburi, it's been 2 years already, past midnight. I have some flabs right here, and I'm struggling how to remove it. A little food would just make me fat. So I have another plan to do it. So with that plan, money tends to disappear. It will give us more stress. So this project or module that we are studying right now, starting with the first one a while ago, will prepare us, okay? And also prepare for emergencies and achieve long-term goals, not just the short term like the emergency, but we need long-term result. So with a plan, money becomes a tool that serves your goal. So let us not make money as the end in itself. It should be our servant. God is our master. Money is our servant. Like just like we are his servant. We are just one of his resources. Okay. What about the financial planning process? Now, financial planning generally follows 5 steps. Number one, assess current situation, just like what Dr. Jolin already. Awareness, we call it in another area. I don't like to mention that one. It may be copyrighted. We call it financial checkup. Know your income, okay? Know your expenses, and then know your assets and liabilities. Those are things already mentioned by Robert Kiyosaki, okay? Step two, set financial goals. What are our goals? Determine what you want to achieve. Example, for me personally, being a missionary in the foreign land, what I want for 2 to 5 years, because our kids are already, my son is in the university sophomore this coming year, and my daughter is graduating grade 12. And we still have a lot of projects to do, and we're getting old. Like now, I'm 55 this August, and a lot of these other options in terms of employment are closing already. Okay, just let's be realistic. So there's no other way to go to turn to God and find ways. Okay, so what are your goals? Determine what you want to achieve. I want financial freedom for the family, for God's work, and time freedom. And we've been talking this with Doc Rebin and Chaplain Minil and the others, Doc Willie Joy, and yeah, Doc Geraldine. We have not reached that one yet, okay? Again, let us separate what I am discussing with this module and where we are right now. We are in the process. And three, again, step one, assess current situation. Step two, set financial goals. And step three, create a budget. As I already told a while ago, creating a budget now it should be easy. I will go into detail later on based on my dissertation how creating a budget based on some rule would be a lot easier. We can adjust, like for example, 10, 20, 70. We can adjust even more. That's adjustable. So allocate resources intentionally. Okay? And then step four, implement the plan. Because without implementation, nothing will happen. And take action consistently. This is, I believe, the most difficult part. The consistency of the daily action. It's good to be reminded that we are to do it. That is why, like leaders, like the presidents, executives, they have personal secretary to remind them. Yeah. Like for example, President, now it's time for this. You have a meeting there. Okay, this is the budget because they will remind us and place us on track. But if there's nobody else, you do it all. You are the leader, you are the CEO, and you are the secretary also. It's not easy to do that. So that one, consistency in daily action is really challenging, right? You can just comment right there in case you want to butt in. Okay. And step five, monitor and adjust. Okay. Yeah, that is why from time to time we keep on monitoring. Without monitor, I heard so. Let me paraphrase it. I heard from a very great leader who makes about a year 18 million uh, peso yearly. That's more than a million a month. He monitors. Without monitoring, you don't see any progress, real progress. So he monitors everyone in his organization. Yeah, he's a financial planner also. And that he has had more than 100,000 in detail, really, 100,000 financial planners. Can you imagine that? Okay, so we are going to monitor, adjust, and review regularly, maybe weekly, daily, several times a day if it doesn't, you know, give us hindrance in our daily goals, and make improvements. Okay, review regularly and make improvements. And financial planning is not a one-time event. That is why it's a process, a journey, and they call it not a destination. Okay, yeah, to me, short-term goal is just financial freedom and time freedom so we can even move further and expedite multiplying disciples for God's glory based on Matthew 28:19 and 20 and Matthew 24:14. It is a continuous process. Now, how do we set smart financial goals? Okay, as we know, smart, right? Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound. This is what we know from the financial experts and financial planners and even the CEOs. But I add something which I discover. Why not make it smarter rather than smart only? Okay? Okay? Smarter, it can be like this: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound. It should be exciting, and the other one, rewarding. Because if it is not, if it is boring, you will not be excited to do it. There is a plan there. Yeah, it's already done. I wrote it already, a dissertation already, but then it doesn't excite us every day. It makes no sense. There will be no consistency, nor fruition, nor reality. Example, week goal. I want more money. Okay? Yeah, you have maybe specific ones, but just that. It's not that strong, right? What about saying it into smart goal? How would you do it? Okay, can you type there? Improve that statement. I want more money. You know, that's to me, from my perspective, based on this module. That's weak goal. Okay, can you give me some? I can give you one. Uh, how about you can say it into a smart goal like I will save, okay, very specific, 30,000 baht for an emergency fund within 12 months. You didn't give any reason, but you have now very specific ones. Smart goal. Instead of saying I want more money, we say, or we are to say, or we should say, I will save 30,000 baht for an emergency fund within 12 months. You see, it's clear now. Specific goals create clarity, and clarity creates action. It's so hard to move when things are not clear. I'm I'm not into an idea. For example, I don't like to, make a generalization that ladies like to move first. Do you agree with me? Professor and Daniel and Janice, or maybe Chaplain Dory, or maybe Chaplain Minel. Like most ladies, maybe, I don't know. I don't have statistics right now. Tend to move rather than think, because some are really thinkers, and vice versa. Okay, also among males too, right? So the idea in here, we need to have clarity. That is why, for me, before I move, I have to clear everything. The weakness is sometimes I go, I don't know if you, into, we call it analysis paralysis. I just don't right now that we have been studying for more than 2 years. I cannot just easily accept any idea without validating it, verifying it from one source. I have to verify if it is possible, because now it's easier from many, if not all, perspectives. So, although I tend to be more melancholic and perfectionist, so nothing will be missed because it should be clear, right? Before action. So, so much for that. What about how do we prioritize? So it's about financial prioritization. Okay? Not all financial goals are equally important. How do we know that this is better? This should be prioritized first, and not that. Okay? How do you prioritize? Can you give me your ideas there, here? Okay, this is just for the sake of our discussion, and it might be so in depth, but we have to prioritize. Here is some suggested order that we see from the expert. Number one, faithfulness and giving. This may not be exactly the same as with those non-believers. That's why Doc Ray suggested that we have to adjust. But if we are all believers, we can also adjust the term instead of tithes and offerings. On some other financial companies, they change it into giving or to charity. Okay? We recognize Psalm 24:1 that God owns everything, including our money, Haggai 2:8 that God owns our money, our silver and gold, okay? And since He owns that, we are to manage it. And so our part is to be faithful because we are His stewards, it's His money. Faithfulness and giving, that is tithes and offerings. So in my dissertation, I have found out there that at least 11%, that is tithes plus offering. You can start with one until you go to 2, 3, it becomes 12, 13, 14, 15, even to 20 and even 30%. Okay? You can adjust the other part. It's up to you. It's adjustable how you plan. Second, again, the first one, faithfulness and giving. That is to Him. It's really priority. We call it like what we said. You can roughly say pay God, actually honor God, pay God, and later on, Doc Willie said, pay yourself, all right? Pay yourself through savings and investing. It's really more on investing. Pay yourself and pay others. Pay God, pay yourself, pay others. But in this step, that we make it into seven, like pay God, pay yourself, pay others, can be broken into seven, like faithfulness and giving, that is to God, and then basic living needs, and that is, and number three, final emergency fund, that is like paying yourself. Okay, these are priorities. You cannot just say I will save and then you don't have food, right? Okay, let's be realistic. I think you agree with me. Again, let me repeat: faithfulness and giving, that is to God. Second, priority, basic living needs. Yeah. Don't wait for the electricity to be cut off because right here, even before the deadline, your electricity will be cut off by the electricity company, right? And we have seen, and even us, yeah, find into that kind of trouble several times. Third is emergency. Okay, that is a part of paying yourself. And the debt reduction. Oh, that is a part also. That is four. Number five, savings. That is even a part of the second, like pay yourself. And six, that is again a part of pay yourself. It seems like there's a lot for the pay yourself and the lifestyle upgrades. That one is the last priority. Okay? So that is paying others maybe by upgrading ourselves. So you see, where are we paying? You know, when we spend more, we paying others, right? That should be the last one, the last priority. Okay? So yeah, I wish my wife was here. She moved to the next room to be in the same mind. It's important that for us, right? Chaplain Minel and Doc Reben to be in the same page because it will be a lot easier for us. So let me encourage, bring all your spouses here. So a lot easier to save time and do financial planning. I think this number next time will be, this is now 12. I hope this will double, right? Doc Arnell? Okay. So let me again recite that order priority while the slides will be given to you. It should be okay. Priority in financial planning or priority financial priority one, faithfulness and giving to God. Second, basic living needs, food, shelter, clothing. We know that today it is even more. Okay, like for example, electricity, water, utilities, and internet. That's even more. Think about that. It takes some time. And then emergency fund. Number four, debt reduction. Number five, savings, investments. Then the last one will be like the lifestyle upgrades. So we can reduce the about less than 70% to make it maybe 65%, 60, depend on you. Uh, Professor Joshua, you may want to comment on that if you have something to add. So Many financial problems occur when lifestyle upgrades are prioritized. So we reverse, okay? We thought that paying ourselves is by upgrading ourselves, uh, when we upgrade ourselves first, instead of paying ourselves, that is not the way we pay ourselves. We are actually paying others for that. So many financial problems occur when lifestyle upgrades are prioritized before financial stability. Do you agree with that? So this principle is so simple. Needs before wants, okay? But assets before luxuries. In my dissertation, actually, if we look at it, it depends on the perspective. Those 10 and 20, 10 plus tithes and offerings, that is actually not just, it may not be financial asset, that's spiritual asset that we use it with God, for His work, right? It will be an asset for us too, to become better steward, right? And even that less than, even more, at least 20% for saving and investing, that will turn into an asset. Okay? So needs before wants, assets before luxuries, and even the less than 70% for our expenses, that can turn into an asset also. When we pay others, normally we don't have something for us in return. That becomes a liability, because a liability is taking money out of our pocket. But when we pay others, we buy from them, and if there is such kind of a return, for example, we I have a card here. I have a card here, like when driving, like gasoline card. So it accumulate points. The moment I use that PTT blue card, it accumulate points. When it reaches 500 points, and that is equivalent to 100 baht. Okay, you see that? That's an asset also. In other words, as much as possible, because the emphasis here is that assets before luxuries. And when we cannot just, I mean, I should say, we cannot get away with expending because we really need to buy. At least we can turn the buying, the expenditure into asset also before luxuries. Okay, I think that's clear. And what about a personal budget? How do we do personal budgeting? Okay, what is a budget? As we know, a budget is simply a spending plan. All right. I don't know if you agree with me, because you can add, well, a budget also is not just a spending plan, it's also a saving plan. It's also a giving plan. Okay. Now that we had a framework based on the Bible that there should be a part of at least 10%, actually 11%, even more, and the Hebrews, even besides tithes and offerings, they also have, even more offerings. And just for the sake of information, the Bible says the tithe is holy, but about 60% of all the offerings, they're even most holy. Can you imagine that? Most holy, about three of the five types of offerings are even described in the Bible as most holy. It is not prescriptive, I mean, in terms of offering and how we do it today in the Seventh-day Adventist theology. We don't have the theology yet. But if we turn it into prescriptive, we can do more research on it and make it into a dissertation, because they are still in the process of researching it. We can expand that one, right? Okay. So a budget is not simply a spending plan. It's so simplistic to say that a budget is simply a spending plan, like what these experts have said, right? We already have understood that a budget is not just a spending plan. When we go to macro, well, it's a budget. Budget this for, but budget is not just about that. We really need to think even more, because a budget, if a budget is only a spending plan, we miss a lot, because also a part of that budgeting is not just the spending plan. There should be also a saving and investing plan, and also the number one actually, as we already noted, it should be there is a giving plan, an honoring plan to God. And every baht or every peso or every dollar should have an assignment. Wow, wonderful, right? Yeah, I don't know. You use the old way of doing a piggy bank. Okay, today is a lot easier. We can use apps. Save time. If you're into it, okay. So this is personal budgeting. A budget helps answer three questions. What are they? Where does my money come from? Okay. Well, ultimately, it comes from God. Yeah, Haggai 2:8, Psalms 24:1. Uh, Actually, realistically, it is through our employment if we are an employee. If you are self-employed, like, well, some of us, not many, about 90, I should say 90 plus percent or 95% of the people are employee. And some are self-employed. It can be a small business usually, or you're an expert, or you're a consultant. You have your own clinic or whatever. Self-employment. You're not working for others because employee is basically somebody working for someone, working for a boss. And maybe you can have another one, which is a business owner, especially a big business owner holding at least 500, according to Kiyosaki, 500 employees or, working for him. But if you have other than employees, you can be an investor, making money multiply and work for you or for us. Okay? So where does my money come from? Is it coming from which one? ESBI, or which is the employment, or where? Where does my money go? Basically, where it comes from, we call it, yeah, asset. Where does my money go? According to Kiyosaki's explanation, it's a liability. Which one? Right? Income? Do you call it? Yeah? Cash flow? The other one. What do you call the other one? Joshua? Okay. So does my spending reflect my priorities? All right. Last night we were driving home. We went to a night market here. We call that Amata, night market. And it's easy. You go with the ladies, you go around. Oh, we Doc Reven. I think you know what I mean. I think you can relate. If you go with them and they just say, can I have your bank account in your bank, in your cell phone? Ah, expect that it will be deducted. Okay? And you already budgeted that. This is for electricity. It cannot be, spent for any. It's a lot of shoes there, a lot of ladies things. Oh, come on. So I had to do something. Excuse me, I need to go to the bathroom. I really did. I was away from that expenditure. All right. So does my spending reflect my priorities, or just it reflects of our impulses? Budgeting creates awareness and control, right? It turns financial goals into daily decisions. So when we have budgeting and we look at it, from time to time, you can easily decide, okay? You can easily make some goals based on the budgeting of the whole income, personal budgeting, and we can easily decide. Now, what about a sample budget framework? What is a sample budget framework? And one practical framework is, as I already told you, 10% plus giving. That is, tithes is holy, offerings most holy. It means we have to increase. As the Jews, they even reach to 20 to 30% of their income just for that. And I think Doc Willie is practicing that. I salute. We cannot compare. It depends on your situation. It has to start. It's a continuum. And then already about 10 to 20% for savings and investing. That is a framework based on my dissertation, which is from the Bible and the principles. And the remaining about less than 70%. Okay, for living expenses, transportation, education, debt payments. Okay, this one I have to emphasize is Doc Geraldine and Doc Willie. Emergency fund. Okay, this one I don't agree with this that this is an expense. It should be there in the 10, 20. I should be in the 20 plus. It's for savings and investing, emergency fund. The exact percentage vary, okay, because it's a continuum. But here's one principle that remains: spend intentionally. Okay? Spend intentionally. This is not enough right here. Save intentionally. And in the Seventh Adventist Church, we have a new one promoted by the General Conference. We call it promise offering. It means give intentionally, right? Dr. Reben, I think you relayed to me that information. We attended that seminar before by the GC, but now they have promised offering based on what Paul said, okay, in First Corinthians. Yeah, spend intentionally. It should be, give or honor God intentionally, save or invest and invest intentionally and spend intentionally. And do not allow spending habits to control your future. So there should be that thinking of future, like future minded while we are in the present. The next thing, building an emergency fund. Wow. Why is it important? I wish I could give you there is this X curve. It's in my book right here. X curve. You know, it's very important. Building an emergency fund. Why do we need to have an emergency fund? As an employee, usually, an employee is the victim of life's challenges when we don't have an emergency fund, right? Even if, for example, your income may be 100,000 pesos or 500,000 pesos if you don't have an emergency fund. Only one checkup, medical bill, oh, you have a stage 4 cancer, everything will be gone in a few weeks, right? Why do we need to have an emergency fund? As we know, well, Professor Joshua can talk more about that, and even Dr. Gerald and even some of us. Why? Because life is unpredictable, right? It's unpredictable. And it is so clear. Okay, let me remember what I have researched before in Ecclesiastes 11:2. And I want you to read the NLT translation. Invest what you have in several different businesses. And I should say, an investment. The reason there being because you don't know what disasters might happen. And that includes emergency fund because the text talks about emergency, what disasters might happen, right? Invest what you have in several different businesses in the text by NLT. In other King James Version, it says like about seven or eight, allotment. Okay. In other translation, like several. But the NLT is good. Invest in several. It's about two, three, four. The one that you can manage first at the beginning. Even if, for example, Lu Tan had more than 300 businesses and investments. The billionaires today have even more. I used to know before, like Warren Buffett has more than 60, right? And Elon Musk has spaceship, space craft, Tesla, and the other one is SpaceX. Yeah, and several others through equity. Okay, so I think we need to learn that one. Joshua, I miss your MBA, class, right? I think you need to give us more. You know a lot that we need to learn, and even also Doc Geraldine. Okay, so we need to save. We need to have emergency fund because life is unpredictable, and that is biblical, as I already told you in Ecclesiastes 11:2. Unexpected expenses, including medical expenses, emergencies, right? Getting sick. So for those who don't have enough, who don't have passive income, no emergency fund, bawal magkasakit. Correct? Yeah? I think you know what I mean. And example, job loss in a foreign country is so unfortunate for missionaries if we lose the job. For example, being pastors, right? We are moved from place to place, and what is usually misplaced is not just the pastor. The wife is misplaced in terms of financial. When you already have a new, yeah, you can relate. Anybody can share. You have instead you have a new job already to support the pastoral work, and then you are moved to another place, and then we lose that job, and we'll find job again. It happened to my wife, being a pastor. It happens to some of us. You can share, okay? So those are unexpected, and we have to follow because we are employees, right? Yeah, a job, lost job. I experienced that, and it is challenging for a missionary. We have a lot of expenses here, more than those who are staying in the Philippines, right? You don't worry about the visas in here. If visa problems come or challenges come, you have to really find, as if today is your last day, right? You have to find ways solve that, as if it is like visa here is just like you have a cancer stage 4. You have to solve that financial problem right now, or in as soon as and possible, or otherwise you will land yourself there being fined or in jail. You see that? It's more challenging for a foreign missionary. Okay, so unexpected expenses include medical emergencies, job loss, vehicle repairs. My vehicle here is still pending. I need more, fund to repair that one. It's not been repaired. And even my driver's license have to renew. Okay? Family crisis. Okay? Bawal magkasakit when we don't have emergency fund. An emergency fund provides protection. Okay, so it's recommended goal 3 to 6 months. Yeah, it's correct. Thank you, Professor Joshua. Also confirm with other sources, and even more is a lot better, especially in the foreign country. Start small. Okay, and consistency is more important than starting big, and even small savings accumulate over time. My tendency right here, for me personally alone, is to, you know uh, if we sometimes we just spend on things which we think is really important. Okay, before I go to managing debt wisely, let me read what Professor Joshua has indicated here in the chat. All right, okay. Yes, and also several of you. Yes, Doc Willie Joy, hopefully I can finish all the presentations as our battery is getting low. And yes, all right. I think Doc Willie Joy, you're referring to your class, right? Okay. Doc Geraldine, we need to define our emergencies. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Because we save for the emergencies, but every day there is an emergency. Hmm, very good point. Yeah, we should have discipline in managing our expenses and savings. We really need wisdom. That is why, yes, we need wisdom, and we also need the power to exercise wisdom, because most of the times it's within us is something beyond our control if we don't have the power from the Holy Spirit. Thank you for that. Chaplain Dory, my daughter, is the one who was assigned to our food and school expenses. Okay, good for you, right? Sana all. And my niece is the one that should, yeah, our electricity, yeah, okay, internet and water, and she gave me an allowance for the church, and I know she saves for building our house and to buy our own car, but she has segregated some of our money for travel and shopping to send us balikbayan back. Wow, good for you, Chaplain Dory. You continue to save, but also in our food allowance, we need to save it at least some of the money she sent to us, so that we need something that we need to buy, and we need to ask her for more, so that we she will not think that we were not wise spender. Okay, very good. Thank you for sharing. Professor Joshua saying, during our certified stewardship educator, I like the word stewardship, Professor Joshua, because this is what and who we are. Training in CLF, CLPM. I think Central Luzon, right? I'm not sure about CLPM. You can expand more on that. I remember what Randy Alcon said in Treasure Principles. God prospers me not to raise my standard of living. but to raise my standard of giving. In other words, when our standard when our income increases, when God prospers us, we will raise our standard of giving, not our standard of living. Thank you for that. I also heard it from financial experts in the other companies, but we need to make it into our own here at LCBMSI with Doc Ray because we have everything from the scriptures. And while others have also, but I believe we can have even more complete because we have scholars here. Professor Joshua continues, principle of diversification of investment. Yes, that one is in Ecclesiastes 11:2. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Yes, in an idiom by the English speakers, Americans, or whoever that one is. Chaplain Dory, in my life allowance, in my little allowance, I just get my tithes and offerings. Oh, wow, good. Even from your allowance, you set aside tithes and offerings. The one who budget our food allowance is my sisters who are in the Adventist, who are not an Adventist, okay? But my daughter said I can get my offerings there, all right? But my sisters did not agree with me. That's my big problem, and I pray to the Lord that the Lord will touch their hearts to agree with me. And I think already mentioned by Dr. Geraldine that income is anything that comes to us, right? If it is given by some people, it can be our income. So our kids can exercise if they want, or maybe they need to, based from the ones that they receive from us. It's got from God. That's a sort of an income. The Levites, they have, we call it, I forgot the Hebrew term. I think terom. It's a tithe to the tithes. Okay? They receive the income that is tithes and the tithe from the tithe. Yeah? It can be that way. And I think that solves your question, Sis Dory. In principle, we need to tithe anything that we receive, right? Because that's an income. Yeah, Dr. Geraldine, right? Okay, now I think that's done. It's an hour already. The next one to present is Doc Ray, but I'm not done yet. Should I continue? I still have some slides here to finish. I still have mm, about 8 slides to finish. What do you suggest, Doc Ray? Shall I continue? Stop now or give you the time and I just give you the material? I still have about not just it's not I still have 9 slides to finish. Okay? Because it's your time now. It's 9:31 or it's 10:31 in the kingdom of Thailand, 9:31. I still have more. Dokray, it's your chance now. Let me just stop here probably. Let me just mention, I'll give you more. I'll give you the slides, okay? We still have to talk about managing debt wisely. All right? Okay. And then debt reduction. How do we reduce debt? We have some strategy. We have like snowball method. Let me just mention this one. Perhaps I will make this into a video and play this on YouTube and make a better one. Okay, like it can be debt avalanche method. Yeah, there's a lot in here. By the way, just quick mention, right? I'll wind this up. So managing debt wisely, debt can be bad debt, good debt. All right. Okay, what that means, there's more on it. Uh, Kiyosaki is the one telling more about it. Dave Ramsey doesn't agree with good debt, bad debt, and both are competing. It depends on your perspective. Let's go with the biblical principle. Good debt, bad debt, good debt is using, even he goes into the bank and use it as a leverage. That is for advanced financial planners. Dave Ramsey uses only, he doesn't like debt. To him, debt is debt, whether good or bad. He doesn't want to have any debt at all.
Hello,
Debt. Yes,
hello.
yes,
How many
Dr. Ray.
minutes do you? How many minutes do you still have?
I don't have any more minutes, Doc. This is your time.
Okay.
Just I'm asking you whether I would end this one now and give you the chance now to spend, or just I give more materials.
Okay. Let's just share the materials to our students.
Yes, okay. It's your time,
Uh,
Doc.
let's finish it so that uh, we can have still enough time for the next speaker. I mean, for the last speaker. So let's give thanks to Dr. Rolly for his dynamic presentation. And I will give you 2 to 3 minutes for some personal necessities. Then let's get back here for the third module. Doc Roll,
Yes, Doc.
if you've got the resource material that we have,